So this is my video on painting my particular army colors. My name is Timothy Danielson, and this is the start of my new army, which is going to be using the same color theme as my last army, which was, I guess, globally known. Anyways, I wanted to make sure I kept a log on this because the models are going to turn out really nice. And a lot of you people will probably see all this work once it's all done. So this is sort of like a go into the past, back to the future sort of thing. So this is where I started. Your basic model, as you can see here. Now there's a secret to this. You see how there's no brush strokes on this? And the reason why there's no brush strokes on this is because what I've done is I've used a spray can. And I've used this particular spray can called the Dark Ghost Gray. This is the color that I recommend for if you're going to recreate this color theme in your army. This is what I would recommend. It's a dull, dark ghost gray, and it gives us a beautiful exterior where it's nice and smooth transitions. Now another thing that I've done that I also recommend, if you happen to have an airbrush, it's an extra bonus, but painting on light sources always comes out better later on. So as you can see, it looks like this is all got shadow work done on it, but it's actually just done with an airbrush. Every model has got a little bit of that highlight on it. Again, you will not see that these models do not suffer brush strokes like many of the models that you will see. So this is part of the secret of how this army looks so good. The next secret is the yellow. So I've already started painting up this one here. So as you can see, the yellow has no brush strokes on it either, which is impossible because the yellow that you're using from Games Workshop is the pits. And almost literally, it's got all sorts of textures on it, and it's just horrible to work with. This is nice and shiny, like really good. So how did we do that? Well, there's a secret to that. And the secret is, don't use Games Workshop yellow. It's that simple. You want to upgrade to house paint. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the house paint is uniform, it self-levels, and it has a beautiful sheen gloss on it. It's really impressive, and I highly recommend using this. And in fact, if you don't use this, if you don't agree to use this before starting this army, don't even bother, because the yellow that you're going to use otherwise is going to be the poop. Poopy. Anyway, so what do we do from here? So from here, I take this yellow and I use, where are we here? Yes, the Cassandra yellow. So this is a Games Workshop ink. This yellow ink, what it'll do is it'll make it more vibrant and it'll give it some beautiful transitions. And at the same time, and most importantly, you will avoid brush strokes, which is the bane of these models. You don't want brush strokes, guys. You can see them when you zoom in. Okay, so from here, I'm going to be doing the same to all the models here. And here's a model that I've already started on. To see how the yellow is uniform, I could probably use another coat here. But you see, it's just beautiful. And the yellow here as well. It also helps to cover up any seams as well. So, and as you can see, there's been an airbrush applied to it. It is just a very good technique that I recommend an airbrush. You don't need it, but it's very smart to have it. One other thing that is really useful is I pre-mix my paint. So I've got this color and I've got this one here, which I pre-mixed. This is the shadow. So when I paint, I start with this one. This is the base paint. From there I use this in a wash and get all of the areas where it's going, like the fabric and that sort of thing. I use this. I also use this for some of the metal plates that are underneath. You'll see there's a bit more on this. And then for this is sort of like the shadow that I use on the shadow on this dark color. So it kind of gives the transition. And then I have these two here that I've purchased, these two acrylic colors. Now these two are, yeah, they are inferior paint, but you know what? They're $1, and I can mix this a little bit with the Games Workshop to make these colors. So if you want to save a fortune, I would recommend these paints here. They're very good. One here is called Slate, the other one's called Sky Blue. This is also known in Games Workshop paint as Fenris or Space Wolf Gray, and this one is also better known as Shadow Gray. Although you do need to put a little bit of blue in it to make it a bit more bluish color. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. Next thing I'm going to do is just finish the yellow on all the models. And then once that's done, I'll take another video before I apply the inks. There you go. So I'm going to continue the video. So at this stage here is a finished drone. You can see that the gray has been outlined. There really is no way of having a tile model without doing the outlining. Tile is all about the outline. It gives it that clean line. That's continued underneath here as well. Even at this scale, you can see it looks good. Here's the first infantry done. As you can see, there's no paint blops, which is normally that's a problem with Games Workshop paints. See if I can get the light down here. Okay. The secret here is using that special paint that I mentioned in the previous video. So the paint I put on and it goops to the top. So if I can zoom into that. So as you can see, this is a pure, clean surface. There's no strokes on it at all. It's remarkable, and you cannot do this with Games Workshop paints. Okay, and this is where it starts off. Here. So this is one that is ready to go next. I put the trim-clad yellow on the gun and then on the head as well, and as you can see, it's smooth. So how do I get it to look like this one over here? This one I use an ink, and as you know, inks, see here, inks do not cause brush strokes. So I do the ink around it and I blow from the top down just so that it pools around the bottom. So as you can see here, the shadows are all collected around the edges. That's all done with the ink. Now I'm planning to do the same with this one, and it'll be inked in here, and it'll be inked on around the head again. As far as the rest of the body, that's simple. It's just watered down shadow gray, and then shadow gray, and then a little bit of dry brushing. It's very simple. So now that we know what this will look like as a finished product, and I always do one, just as a proof of concept, rather than starting all of them at the same time and then screwing them all up at the same time. Start with one, and that way you learn how to do it with one, and then you can take that technique to the rest of the models. I've already done this before, so I already knew this was going to work. So I'll do a walkthrough. I guess since I used this model as a demonstration, I'll work on this one next, and we'll do this one together. Okay, now for the drone. The drone, same idea. This one has been inked, so as you can see, it goes like a little bit darker on the side, which is on purpose. And then down here, I'm planning to use a special paint called Alclan or Alclad paint, and that gives a true metal appearance to something. So we're going to use that instead of the Games Workshop metals, because the Games Workshop metals, you can see the brush strokes, and then at the same time, it's not very shiny, and it doesn't give a pure metallic refraction. Whereas the Alclad paints, you know what? This is it right here. This one, Duraluminum. So this is what it looks like. And in fact, I have some on the miniature here. So let's take a look at why this is so amazing. So here's you see the metal here? That looks like metal. It reflects like metal. See this? You cannot get this with Games Workshop. And it self-levels too, which is what you really want on a small model like this. Okay, that's the end of my video. Okay, in this video we're going to apply the ink. I think I might need a little bit more than that. I'm going to coat the whole thing, just like this. It's harder to do when I don't have two hands holding it. Okay, get this out of there too. Can hear you. All right. Take some off here. It's a little bit too dark. There we go. It's a little bit dark back here too. There we go. I'm tempted to touch the top there. There. So it gives this a very nice let me come back to you. Okay, so now we've applied it, and it's been applied to the gun as well. It's kind of faint, but it's there. It's the back of the helmet. And then the gun as well on this side. I might put a little bit more on just to deepen the color a bit, but no, that's pretty good. That's good for me. So this next video is the next day. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use a dark gray. I'm going to wash it, and I also got to clean this little thing here still. So I'm going to wash it so that it's got the same sort of texture as this one. There's an artificial light source, if you can see that there. Makes it look more real having light sources like that. So that will be my objective today. So now that we've done the wash, I'll follow up with an ink, which will be black. So I just added the inking. It's still drying here. So that's what it looks like with the ink on. Okay, so this is a follow-up video. That same miniature that I worked on the other day. It's, well, almost looks complete actually. So here it is right here. Just did a little bit of dry brushing on it, and did some etching lines on it. I didn't expect it to be done so quick, but there wasn't really much left. With all of the dry brushing, it just blended it all together quite well. And I don't know what to say, it's came out pretty good. Let's see how it looks like on the big screen here. It's quite good. I think I might need to do a little bit more work in the gun area and here. And then maybe some touch up in here. Oh yeah, I still gotta do the lines. One here, and then the circle around it. That's part of the effect that I go with. Let's see what else we got here. Probably the same thing on the side. This line through the center here, so on each side again, one thin little line on each one to highlight it, and then around it. Kind of just makes it pop. Yeah, these lines work good. Turned out a lot better than I thought. I mean, all things considered, just from dry brushing. Okay, so working on some new ones. Here's the that other model. I think I had this one in the last video. Anyway, this is more of a dynamic post. This is the squad leader. It's got the base color on it. I did some washing today on him. Probably do some inks tomorrow and clean it up. I noticed the helmet here. If I can just move it forward a little bit. It's not the ink didn't dry as clean as I wanted it to. It's not bad though. That's pretty good. Even for this close-up, it's pretty good. I haven't applied the metal here yet. So it looks good. Okay, so let's go look at one of the stealth suits. So just starting to pick at it. A couple things here and there. I did a wash down here. I'm not happy with how that wash turns out. Washes are still Games Workshop, so there's still brush strokes on it, and I don't like that. I might have to airbrush it away or perhaps dry brush it away. We'll see. Added the inks, the yellow ink on it. So the next thing on this model will be ink, dark black ink, and all the lines. Basically, the whole thing is just going to be illuminated with highlight lines, etching, right, and then accentuated by the black ink in all the crevices. I mean, it's very simple. There's not a whole lot that's needed, I think. It'll just simply look good. It's got this beautiful transition going on, so I mean that alone will really help it pop. And I've gone online and I went through various examples of the stealth suit, and let's be honest, some of them are pretty poopy. So I decided to go with the best looking examples I've seen. So in my case, I much prefer leaving this gray, having this as a different color. That's kind of, what's the word, trite? Yeah, it's, I don't know, just it doesn't do it for me. At a distance, they all look like they're wearing bananas or some sort of giant pillow. It's not what I want to see when I look at a mechanized unit. And then all this can be detailed. This can be a little bit lighter. Tau symbol. It'll look really sharp, really snappy. And if you're wondering about the black here, well, this is actually the special primer used for the Tremclad over here. Not Tremclad, sorry, Alclad 2 lacquer. And in fact, no, I'm using a darker one for this one in particular. I have a special color that I'm going to be applying, and it's like this. Actually, this might be it. It's a dull metal, and when it's airbrushed onto that black, it's going to be so sick. It's so shiny, reflective, mirror reflections, insane, and it's going to look like it's pure metal. It's going to look really killer. So that'll be kind of the main showpiece of this model, which is really what it is. So anyway, I don't want to waste any more of your guys' time, but yeah, it's basically inking, etching, and it'll pretty much turn out like this. Just on a bigger model. Anything else I can add? No? Yeah, that's just, I've been doing this sort of work on all my models now, so I'm kind of assembly lining it just to help things progress quicker. So I should have something new in a couple days. Okay, so this is just a follow-up on that same model. It's pretty much done now, so had to do some touching up inside here. Some of the lines weren't correct before. I did a little bit more dry brushing just to make it pop a bit better. And looks great, especially the back here. It's amazing what just a little bit of dry brushing can do, and you can see that this was really bad before. Now it's a lot more clean, and the helmet's nice and sharp as well. Zoom in there. There you go. And the iris, I'm not sure if you can see that. Okay, let's see if we can. No, you can't really. Okay, well, never mind. Okay, that's what we got so far. Okay, so I'm going to work on the stealth suit next, and this one's going to be dry brushed first. And once it's dry brushed, I'll do some inks just to get some detail in there. And I'm going to airbrush this part here with that super high gloss metal, which is going to look amazing. But yeah, I wanted to go with this texture. This is part of my armies custom paint scheme. Wherever there's these segmented ridges, there's like yellow bits here. And that's mostly seen on the fire warriors, which you'll see in the future. I'll see if I can fix some of the water spotting that happened with the washes. I should have known better. Games Workshop Paints is known for that. Anyways, okay, I'm going to get to it. Dry brushing. Okay, so dry brushing stage is done. Now I'm going to do some inking. Let's see if we can get rid of some of this bristles. Anyway, I'll remove that later. But you can see how much it helps. Just bring out some of the detail. It also helps to accentuate the light sources. It doesn't take that long. Just be patient and keep dry brushing. I did about 3, not coats, but 3 different times. This came out really good. This came out really good. I'm sure glad this ended up gray and not yellow. Like, I mean, a lot of folks will take these models and make the head here, this piece, yellow. I don't know, that just doesn't look right to me. It looks like a giant banana or a pillow or something like that. So let's just bring that in closer, and you can see that there's no brush strokes on this model. God, I hate brush strokes. So even at this closeness, you see, it doesn't look awful. And this is, I mean, super high res. Looks nice and clean. Let's keep it that way. Okay, now I'm going to do some inking. Okay, just did a quick wash over the whole thing. So did a wash with a little bit of water into the center, starting from the inside. So it's just here. So anywhere inside here where it's most dark. Started there 50-50. Got around here and then added more water. Started doing the outside and more water doing the outside. When I did the top here, it was mostly just water. It just helped it all cool down. My job now is just to collect the excess so that it's not too gross. So far it looks pretty good. See, there's a little bit of excess here. There we go. This was really, really easy. I don't know why more people don't do this. Might even just get away with one coat. I mean, look at that. That's clean. No brush strokes at all. It's gonna look pretty nice when it's dry. Okay, that's at this close, so yeah, it's gonna look quite good. Alright, I'll wait till it dries and move on. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, and on we go. So, this is where I started. There's another model I haven't gotten to yet. So before I began, this is what it looked like. And now this is what it looks like. So I tried to, I did the etching and then did a bit of ink, and can't help, a little bit of brush strokes showed up, but I guess that's inevitable. But mostly you can't see it. So this is what I was hoping to see. And this is really close up, so as you can see, it's not bad. So I'm going to do the airbrushing on the guns next. Let's see how that turns out. It should be really interesting. Yeah, so this is what it looked like before. Okay, I'll get busy now. Okay, so it's been applied, and as you can see, it's really shiny. Oh, ho, ho, so pretty. Look at that. It's like metal. And it's airbrushed 2 colors of metal. Oops. It's metal, like a high gloss brightness metal, and then underneath is a darker metal. So it's the same tech, but it gives the impression of light. And it self-levels. Just look at the shine on this sucker, eh? Huh. Okay, so how did the model that we were working on turn out then? Here we go. Wow. I love that paint. Okay, so when I mentioned it was going to turn into like a metal, that's what I was talking about. This is so sweet. I might have to touch this up a little bit now. It's going to be kind of a pain. I'll have to blend it manually. And anyway, this model is, I guess, basically done. Oh, wait, I gotta do the irises left. So good, so good. So happy with how that turned out. So I just wanted to follow up. This is for my Facebook friends who do Tau. So obviously this model has been base coated, but you'll also notice that it's been dry brushed. The reason you can tell is because there's this slight shadow. See that? A natural occurring shadow over the model. And this subtlety is always going to be there as I'm painting details and etching and lining. But of course, I won't be painting over the airbrushing. That would be ridiculous. So you can see the top here is definitely brighter than the bottom, right? That's what airbrush allows you to do. So false or correct shadows, basically. You can give the impression that the model is a lot bigger than it is because of the shadows. And already it looks really good. I would almost, well, no, I wouldn't. Maybe somebody else might use it to play in the game. Anyway, so this is what it looks like after it's base coated, and then I add the trim clad yellow, sun yellow. As you can see, it self levels. It becomes really shiny, really smooth. You just can't get that with Games Workshop paints. So after that's done, it's then inked, so the yellow itself is a little bit more colorful, as you can see here. Still shiny. There's no brush strokes. I hate brush strokes. And when you have models this small, brush strokes really stand out. So this model, I've got another couple of videos just showing how I just added shadow gray to some parts and then did a wash and then did an ink after that. It's very simple. You know, painting models really well doesn't take much effort. You just gotta know what you're doing. And then once that's done, then I just do detailing. Just edge all the edges. So this is a rail rifle. So I can zoom in here. So even at this closeness, you see how clean that is? That's only achieved by not using Games Workshop colors and paints. And also, see the metal here? This metal is sick. It's way better than anything you can get at Games Workshop. No offense to them, but here is what you want. You want this stuff. Alcad, pure metal. And it just forms an incredible sheen, self-level, so you can see a reflection, almost like a mirror or like chrome. It's really good, and I would hands down recommend it all the time. And what does this look like on a drone? This is what the drones start off as. This has been inked. I haven't cleaned it yet. As you can see, it's been airbrushed. So already it looks amazing. So this one has been airbrushed and cleaned and painted. So as you can see here, yeah, that looks amazing. I use guides on the internet. See, I planned the paint job, right? I didn't just jump in and hope for the best. I've seen that with, let's say I didn't see that with Tau. I saw it with some other armies, of course. Never us. But as you can see, planning your paint scheme, even using the box for inspiration, is really important. There's some lessons on how to paint gems, and I've got shiny gloss on the gems. So yeah, this is what my drones look like. I'm really happy with how this came out. This is just mostly airbrushing and highlighting. That's mostly it, and then some inks, and then the painstaking task of etching or edging. Now you guys, don't avoid that. This is Tau. Tau is all about the edging. And by the way, see how smooth that yellow is? Try to do that with Games Workshop yellow. It's impossible. So yes, highly recommend it. There's a bit more work on this. I got to put the badge number in Tau on there. And this is the yellow I use. Really cheap, works really well, highly recommend it.